Good everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be doing a review on the M15 42 medium tank. Now this little medium tank isn't too bad, but it really gets shafted in up tiers. I'll say this right now, if you get into an up tier with this tank, you really are going to struggle to compete. I had quite a few games where it was a constant up tier and I just couldn't do anything with the tank. Maybe I got a kill or two on a same battle rating tank, but the only time I killed a 3.3 tank was a Churchill Mark 1, and that was in my first battle. And even then, I'd shoot him in the side to have a chance. But this tank isn't too bad, so let's go over it. So the turret front and the turret mantler is exactly the same as the M1340 and the M1441. The side of the turret is also the same, the side of the hull is relatively the same, except for these 4mm structural steel jerry cans. It's where the frontal armor is where it's sort of changed. The driver's port is still 50mm thick, however this front plate here is now 50mm thick. It's alright in a down tier, but not so much in an up tier, especially the turret front. The turret front will not save you in an up tier. Maybe against a Matilda, but even so. The MG port remains unchanged other than the gun steel being modified, or included shall we say. The lower glacis is still 30mm thick. Upper glacis is 30 and 25 respectively. The roof armor hasn't changed. The engine deck armor hasn't changed. So mostly, it's just this frontal plate, and the gun steel. Not much of a difference, right? Well, that's where things start to change a little bit. The engine has once again been boosted, this time to 170 horsepower, when spaded. And Jane Prawn 3 will most likely be leaving a comment on this video. And he saw firsthand what the stock engine power was like in this thing. I couldn't get up to one of my favourite spots on, I think it was, I can't remember the name of the map, but it'll probably remind me. And I simply didn't have the horsepower, and I was pushing his Panzer II back because I had no choice but to drop the clutch and roll the tank back. It was quite funny, but at the same time annoying. But the mobility isn't too bad once you get the engine up and done. And here's where the main part is. The gun has been changed now. You get the same gun as the AB-43 armoured car, which is good at 2.0. Pretty good in an up tier, but what do you mean a Churchill? Obviously you get your high explosive rounds, don't fire these, just fire armor piercing. The armor piercing rounds are very effective, and they do the job just fine. The game I'm going to be showing you is actually my only down tier I got in this tank. I do well, and I get extremely lucky with a plane, is all I'll say. One final thing to note is that the M1441's roof-mounted machine gun was able to point forward and shoot at targets. The M1542 cannot do that, it's the same problem with the M1340. But other than that, you get a pretty decent gun with a rapid rate of fire. You do lose 2 degrees of gun depression, however. Excuse me. So, as you can probably tell, the next review will be on this. I haven't actually driven it, as you can tell. And to be truthfully honest, ladies and gentlemen, I'm dreading it. Because that short-ass gun just doesn't seem effective to me. 2.3. Same mobility as the M41 because it's on the same chassis. Flat as a witch's tit armor. And, well, its gun, when stuck, is extremely ineffective. For air support, I used the RE2001 Series 1. I had a bad spade, as you probably know, when I drove out, well, I flew this aircraft, and I've been trying to get the stats to look a little bit more efficient in this aircraft, shall we say. Not stat padding, but I just want it to be a bit more better, like to show that the aircraft can do something, and by using it in ground forces, I'm showing that. Anyway, let's get into the battle with the M1542. So this battle starts off slow, but slowly makes its way into an efficient battle. Today we're on Ash River, but we're on the wrong side. I'd rather be on the other side. Well, that's not the first time the Italian tanks have heard about being on the wrong side. Italian Civil War, as we all know. So, this battle is relatively long, but obviously I will skip the parts that are not as entertaining. But this battle wasn't too bad. It was the only down tier I got in this tank. And I was so happy to see that message in chat. Italy versus Italy. You do not know how excited I was. And don't worry, I make a comment on it. Finally, a sodding down tier. Honestly, folks, I had been getting 3.0, 3.3 games the entire time spent in this vehicle. And as you can imagine, it was a nightmare. I accidentally cut up that M1340 there. I do apologise, mate. I was too busy typing. Sorry to Gamma 25. I was texting and driving, so to speak. But anyway, I push up to one of my favourite sniping spots, which pretty much everyone uses nowadays. You'll notice the mobility is a lot better. And Zag asked what BR is my tank, 2.3, and honestly this is the first down tier I had in this tank. And it was the only down tier I had. The rest of them were either 2.7, 3.0, or 3.3 games, and it was horrible. I think the Semavente 7518 is going to be even worse. Zag doesn't have a very good game. At first he gets sniped by a tank, or he gets MG'd by a Stuart, I think he did. And here's where we see two M1542s camping in the same spot that I would probably use. Or else up here where my cursor is. Round about here is a good spot. That was a lucky kill. I don't think I should have gotten that. But for some reason that killed the tank. I have no idea how, but whatever. Got me a kill. I spaded the tank in the match after this one. I think I got I got 8 kills in that battle. But naturally we lost. I will warn you folks, the teams are terrible. If you thought the Italian planes and the German teams were bad in planes, you haven't seen nothing yet. I have had... This battle was... Let me think. I had about 12 battles in this tank. Probably about 12 to 15 battles in this tank in total. And only 2 were victories. This being one of them. Minor spoiler there. And it was so frustrating. Because whenever you lose, you get less RP, and it is an absolute nightmare. Why does Gaijin think that giving players less RP for losing, when they clearly try hard enough, is ridiculous? I don't know. But now we're going to skip ahead a little bit, because me and this M1542 engaged for the next 5 minutes or so, just sniping at each other. He eventually does hit my tank pretty well. But this battle does start off relatively slow. I'm going to actually put it at 8 times. There was an AB-43 up there. I didn't actually know his exact location. As you can see, I fired at that AS-42 right there. I should have used a machine gun, but mistakes happen, I'm afraid. Now at this point, we're being triple capped. But a teammate in an AS-42 is just pushed up. I take the smack from the M1542. He smacks me in the turret. And I think at this point he has been taken out. I move up to Overwatch B. I don't see anything, and I decide to go to another good spot that I recommend people use. I'll show it once we get there. And for once, I'm actually going to leave it on 1x to show you exactly what this tank is capable of in terms of mobility. I should have seen that guy, to be truthfully honest, but I didn't. The reverse rate is pretty much exactly the same. Forward speed has gone up by about, I think it's 2 miles an hour. The engine when stock is pretty much the exact same horsepower as the M1441. But other than that, the tank's relatively unchanged other than the main gun. The main gun really does help though. If you had if they had the shorter 47 on this tank, I wouldn't even bother playing it, to be truthfully honest. But luckily, it has the longer barrel 47. And the longer barrel 47 is very effective. So now I'm going to push up to, I'm going to put it on 2x here because this thing does drag to get it around here sometimes. And this thing does take a while, but we eventually get there. At this point, B's about to be capped, and I noticed this guy here. I was like, what the hell is that? Fired! And it was an L640. So now it's clear for my teammate to go in. But it's actually a AS-42 overwatching that cap, which I didn't know. I spotted him. Gave him some hits with the MG. He soon buggered off behind that corner. I don't blame him. When you've got you've got an M1542 and a M1340 looking at you, I would probably do the same. Did attempt to have a crack at that plane. I probably should have raised the gun a little higher. So now my teammate down there, oh, it's an M15, well, it's M1340, I thought it was an M1542 then. They all look basically the same. They're quite hard to distinguish from one another when they get their own camouflages. I think I need 9 more kills on this thing to get the last camouflage. I'll bring it with a Semavente, bring it as a backup. But I really am dreading the Semavente, folks. At this point, it starts to get a little quiet. But also very interesting. There's an S-42 behind there, I didn't see him. Teammate deals with him. I just pulled back to check there. I rotated the gun around just in case. The wounded turret crew doesn't help, but I mean the turret traverse isn't exactly world beating anyway, so I spotted that AS-42, but look how slow the turret is, people. And even if I didn't have wounded crew members, I probably wouldn't have gotten the turret running time. So here's where it gets interesting. I saw that shot, and I started looking around, and I thought, is there a tank down there? That little bush, which I just looked at then. I thought, that can't be it. So in only a second now, I go back to checking that bush. I find a machine gun for a brief second. And I get a hit on it, and I'm like, hey? I fire, take out its transmission. First shot. Second shot, takes out the tank. Well, tankette. And to be honest, I didn't even know that was there. I simply just fired the machine gun, guessing it was a vehicle, and well, that was the end of him. It's a tankette, it's not exactly going to win a fight against this thing, is it? I spot this 4732, I feel sorry for this guy. Obviously by this point you would have seen the spaded impressions of that vehicle. It's still bad, and against M1542s you ain't got much hope. It's my 4th kill in the match. Still got a bad throat, ladies and gentlemen, from the AB41 video, or AB43 video, sorry. And well, I don't know, sometimes I get a bad throat, sometimes I don't. I make a witty comment there saying, at least this match gave me a break from the uptiers. I was just checking that guy, turns out it was the 47 that I killed earlier. Honestly though, folks, you really do have to be careful in uptiers for this thing. Now here's where it gets interesting. This CR-42. Start by firing a machine gun at him. That shot missed. And any minute now, an AS-42 who's, I think it was spawn camping, I'm not entirely certain. It's like that guy knew I was lining up 47 for him. Tried to fire when I was reversing there, missed it by a country mile. I think the AS-42 was actually spawn camping, which you'll see in a moment. He smacks my turret, takes out my 2 crew, etc, etc. I think he was spawn camping personally, but not much I can do about that. Here comes the CR-42 again. I let that shot way too early. Hit him again with a machine gun. It doesn't do a lot of damage. I pull out here and any second I'm going to take a smack from the AS-42. I actually hit him with that shot. But obviously, it's armor piercing. It's not going to do much. And there's the smack from the AS-42. Sweet week. I'm pretty certain he was spawn camping. But don't worry. For losing, you killed 2 of my Marios. You'll pay for that. Kill number 5 with the machine gun. And I'm just gonna quickly slow it down here, just in time. And we're gonna go to Mythony 1983's perspective for this shot. We're just gonna quickly slow it down. Apologies about that there. And any second now. Do apologise about those notifications there. So around about this point where I'm about to fire. I'm leading him at what I think is going to be a shot. And I just thought, I'll pull the trigger. Why not? I fire. The shell flies true. Hits him in the wing. Shoots him down. And as you can imagine, the chat is about to go a bit. Holy Jesus. Obviously, I do swear in my... Well, I did swear in a couple of my videos. And my first initial reaction, bear in mind this was 11 o'clock at night, was holy shit. As you would imagine. I couldn't believe it. There was just simply no way I scored that kill. But I did. And I have no idea how. It's just... wow. I was amazed by that shot. Tried to get lucky again with another CR-42. But it didn't happen. So actually it did a match. So, what do I think of the M1542? Well, it's a definite improvement over the M1441 and M1340. But it really does get shafted into uptiers, people. It does not deserve to be uptiered so often. Your gun will still struggle against British tanks, B1s and things like that. It's just you have less mobility than the AB-43, so do take that into account. But otherwise, this is a pretty good tank. I did enjoy driving it. It's just the constant uptiers kept ruining it for me. The gun is better. The armor in this placement here is better. The MG port is actually better. The mobility is much better. And overall, it's a great improvement from the M1441, which is a good tank, but I just don't think this tank should be uptiered so often. I think this tank needs to drop to 2.0, to be truthfully honest. It got uptiered to 2.3, and it does not deserve to be in the same territory as the F2 when it's uptiered. The Panzer IV F2, that being. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys get off. There is a bonus replay that I think I saved, and I will most likely use that of this tank. But now I'm going to go off and spade the Semavente. Oh boy. And by the time this video comes out, it will be spaded. However long it takes me. Anywho, I'll let you guys get off. Thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you on the next one.